Hey guys, what's going on? This is your host Michael, our Thoughts Become Things. This is sort of a spontaneous video that I had, an idea. Now, I had actually posted on the community tab that I was going to make a video about this a long time ago. It's probably been several months, but I never really got around to making it. This doesn't have to be a huge, you know, deal, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want to make it like that, so I'm just going to go over what I clearly remember from the afterlife. And this is like no joke, my actual recollection of what happened whenever I passed away in one of my previous lives. So this is my own recollection. So just take it for what it's worth. Results may vary, of course. Um, these are just memories that clear, and I'm talking clear as day memories that I have, and I'm going to go over them. So as you can tell, the video's not too long. I'm going to give some additional resources that you can check out in the comment section. Many of you are probably already familiar with the great Dolores Cannon and her work, but many of the things that she talks about and that she has gathered the information about the afterlife and things like this in the spiritual realm from her books and from her clients and from doing those hypnosis sessions that she did. She wrote all these books and compiled the information into books, and she also have lectures. She has lectures and talks about these things. So these things are very accurate. That's from my own experience. These things are extremely actually accurate. It's the closest knowledge and information, in my opinion, that you can actually have and receive about what happens after we pass away and the physical form and things like this on Earth. So I'm just going to say, for one, Earth is just another place of incarnation. It is said to be the most challenging, toughest battleground, and only the most experienced souls can actually incarnate and inhabit this place, believe it or not. So, in a lot of Dolores Cannon's teachings, I'm just prefacing this, okay? Because I have to preface this in order for us to understand that a lot of the information that she teaches, man, if you read her books, watch her lectures about life after death and things like this, it's very spiritually accurate and sound. And this is from my own recollection, so this is from what I remember. Many of the things that she talks about, I remember clearly as actual memories. So I'm going to share with you now. Now, I did write down on a note card things that I didn't want to miss. So I'm not covering everything in this, but I'm covering what I remember in a general sense. Like I said, I didn't want to make this a huge, detailed version. Maybe in the future, we will receive a detailed version if you are curious to know, and if you have the interest, just let me know. I know this stuff has always interested myself, spiritual experiences. I've never had any near-death experiences. I think once in my life I was put under anesthesia, and it's like the blinders. It's just complete blackness. Like I don't remember being out of my body or anything during that procedure and surgery, I guess, if you would say. And that's whenever I was younger. And I used to have many spiritual experiences whenever I was younger. Again, just finishing up this preface, I remember one time that an angel actually caught my hand. Like, there was a protective barrier where my hand was, and my hand, I kid you not, was completely shut. We were picking up, it was either my dad or my aunt. I think we were picking up my aunt at either my dad or my aunt. This is whenever I was a child, so I have to sort of jog my memory here. This is just one experience that, could have been, you could say, like the closest thing to near death, but it wasn't like that. It was just a spiritual experience. I've had many of these things. By the way, if you guys have had any spiritual experiences, or you remember the things that I'm about to talk about, please comment below. Like, I'm curious to know these things. I want to know do you remember anything coming into your body, going from the spirit realm to the earth realm, incarnation? Do you personally remember these things, or is this just me? And I say that very, very humbly. I always do speak about these things very, very humbly, because I'm happy. Like, it makes me so excited that I actually remember, like, what kind of is the what goes on over there for many souls. And I know it's not just myself, but many people might not remember these things. So let's go back, finishing up that story real quick. So I was sitting on my brother's lap because there wasn't really room. We were getting, I think, my aunt in the car. I think maybe my dad was in the back with her, because they're like twins. They're really like my brother, or not my brother, but my dad, and then my aunt, which has since passed away. God rest her soul, and sending love her way. But they were sitting in the back, and long story short, my brother shut the car door on my hand. Like, my hand was outside of the car, like this, on the steel frame, or whatever it is, like metal steel frame, and it shut, but it actually shut completely on my hand. Now, the funny thing is that I came out without a scratch. Now, it was painful, but how do you explain that? That's something that you can't really explain. The door was completely shut on my hand. My hand was half outside the car and half inside the car. I could have lost my whole half my hand. And I kid you not, I was just like, "Hey, oh, like, I was just reacting. I was like, "Oh, hey." And then they noticed that my hand was caught in the door, and then he opened up the door. And I remember it was painful, but I kid you not, guys, I came out without a scratch, without a bruise, like without a scratch. So, how do you explain that? You know, I I know that some presence was there, an angel or something was protecting the hand. And there are spiritual forces that we've heard about in near death experiences and stuff, or just miraculous events where spirit on the other side will assist us here on earth and make sure that, like, we stay intact and things. And depending on the situation, they might not be able to help all the time, but this is just one of the stories. So I know we're excited to hear. I should have honestly just went on about the other stuff, so let's get into it. So, the afterlife, what I clearly remember. So let's go ahead and get into this, because that's actually what we're talking about. I just brought up this story because I've had many spiritual experiences. That's one of the experiences that, spiritually speaking, I always remember. That was like strange but true stories. Like, I came out without a bruise, even though my hand was literally shut in the door. And how do you explain? How do you explain no bone broken or anything from a hand shut in a door like that? It just doesn't make sense. So I've had many things like that, but let's get into this. So what at the afterlife? What I clearly remember. So I did a meditation probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and I found out in that meditation, and I think I was meditating to like 528 hertz frequency or something, and I was just very relaxed. I was listening to affirmations at the time because I wasn't really into subliminals yet. I was listening to affirmations, and I had my own success hypnosis. And I kid you not, in that meditation, I found out who my guide was. At the time, I don't know if it's changed, but at the time I had one guide, spirit guide, and we do have spirit guides, 1,000%. So I found out that I had a spirit guide, and he took the appearance of an old man. Like, that's the appearance that he chooses, like an elderly, wise man, like somebody who's extremely wise and learned. You know what I'm saying? So that's the appearance that he took on. And then I also found out, which leads me into the afterlife here, which I wanted to know one question in meditation. He was present with me, like he was there in the room and stuff, spiritually. And I asked him a question. Well, I asked the ether. It wasn't just him, but I wanted to know something. I said, I don't really want to know much about my previous life incarnation, but I do. Well, I asked two things. I said, what I wanted to know whether I was a woman or a man because I thought I was a woman in my previous life before this one. Well, I came to find out the answer to that during that meditation. I found out that I was actually a man, that I was not a woman, that I was a man, and I saw myself in a vision. I was a little bit older, and I don't know if I was very lonely. I don't know what was happening there, but I was like in an alleyway, and it was like it was in a different country, other than the one I'm living in. So it was not in the United States. I was in a completely different country. I'm not sure what country here. I'm not sure where I was, France or somewhere. I don't know where I was, but I just remember I saw myself in an alleyway. So I don't know if I was living in an apartment somewhere in that alleyway or something, but I do clearly remember seeing that vision. That vision was granted to me to find out about one of my past lives, and actually, apparently, it was the life right before this one. So that's even deeper. Like that's the deepest part of it all. Is like it was right before I incarnated, and we're gonna get to this, but I'm telling us right now, one of the scariest things in the spirit realm is that they like for you to progress quickly. Like time doesn't exist there, so you could get lost. Like you could have eternity to just do nothing, but that wouldn't help you grow because our souls, our light is here to help other people. That's the truth. We're not doing this as a on our own thing. This is a unified effort on specifically on troublesome planets such as Earth, and then there's other universes and other realms and things. Now I don't remember too much about those. I do remember like little small visions and things of being in other sort of, I don't know, subconscious lucid like realms and things. I don't know if those were just dreams. I don't know if that was from the afterlife, but this is a video I clearly remember that this is like what actually occurs in the afterlife. So, like I said, results may vary, but does this resonate with you? You know, subconsciously you might, what I'm about to talk about, you're just going to know, hey, dude, this is true. So I passed away in that life, okay? That I was a guy right before this one. And the second question I wanted to know, I said, well, the only other thing I need to know that I want to know is, was I happy? That's all I wanted to know. Did I die happy? I wanted to know, did I die happy? And the answer was actually yes. Now I thought that the answer was going to be no, but I found out that the answer was actually yes, and it excited me whenever I found out. I came out of that meditation. I'm like, my mind was blown because I'm like, I feel like I saw myself in the alleyway. I would have been like some depressed old man or something, but no. Apparently, things were actually going pretty decent and pretty good in my life. Like I came to terms with the loving energy maybe towards the end of my life in that lifetime or something. So I, on the surface, would have thought like, okay, I see myself in an alleyway, so I'm like just some depressed, you know, broken, like no money. But no, apparently I had more than enough to live. I might have been given love whenever I was a child in that lifetime. I didn't really talk about, or I didn't ask those questions. I didn't even want to know, honestly. I'm just drinking some water here. Get my throat cleared. I didn't want to cut or break in any of this. So if I clear my throat or anything, I just want it to be the raw truth, raw video. We're actually coming to an end. Because I talked about I talked about that live, because I only have about 3-4 points to go over here that I've written down that I didn't want to forget. That's why I haven't written. So I found out that I died happy, and then upon dying, this is what I clearly remember now. Now this is the part where we're actually in the spirit realm. Like I'm talking right upon death. I remember coming, like almost being hugged like into a loving arm, and like immediately there was like no time delay. I don't remember roaming Earth or nothing in between this. Like some souls, some near that death experiences, they're like on the Earth realm roaming and going to the mountains and going underneath the sea. It's like being a spectator on Earth now, as opposed to just being trapped to one location. You can go anywhere and no with no time delay, and just you can go to the top of the highest skyscraper of the world and like actually look out and see that view and see nice things and things. No, I don't remember any of that. As soon as I died in that past in the previous life where I was a man and I died happy, I as soon as I crossed over, it was the loving arms, but then right immediately, like I'm talking, I was immediately shown. It was like you just turned my vision, and all of a sudden in front of me appeared a stage, like a stage, and I remember there was red curtains, and there was colors, like you could actually see colors on the stage, and there was, I'm not kidding, guys, like there was a stage, and then there was like portals, there was doors, and there was portals. Like this is almost like giving me chills because it resonates so deeply because I these are the things that I clearly remember. I still have memories of this. I just don't really share it, but I'm sharing with you in this video. Let me know if you want to know about other curious stories. I've actually, and I say all of this very humbly, I've sat at I've had actual out of body experiences while I've been sleeping, where I was not dreaming, where I was clearly taken from my body, my higher self, or something. Like I got out of my body, but my physical body I could like look down upon. It was like a near death experience, but there was nothing that caused that. It was just natural sleep, and then I remember looking down on my body and going off and playing. Now, I have had those experiences. Now, I haven't remembered those experiences in a long time. They say we go out of our bodies every single night and do this, but we just don't remember. We're not supposed to remember because we'd be too confused. We could get too caught up on that side. Most of us would want to only live there. We're supposed to be living this earth life, helping other people and assisting other people and stuff. Like I said, that's the deeper side of earth, is that we're not, like, we are here to help other souls grow up and like be shining examples and things like this. And everybody has a different purpose, by the way. Now that's the deeper thing, is that everybody actually has their own sort of specific purpose, and the purpose over time can oftentimes change as well. So you might be given a role right now, and then that role could change later on. And the universe will naturally lead you to this. You will receive signs, you know, obvious signs of what you're supposed to be doing. Now, where was I? Oh yeah, I was shown the stage immediately, and it was just this large stage platform with red curtains. It was a rather large stage, brown wooded floors. You know what I'm saying? Like a typical music, concert or music stage, or what, a play, like a play going on. And I was shown that spirit, like people from the spirit side, had the ability to go into those portals and sort of hijack like someone's consciousness and body. I was shown this. So they say that the truth is stranger than fiction, and I definitely agree. Well, I'm just telling you from my own experience what I was actually shown, and I'm telling you, I clearly remember this. I mean, it was like I could draw this out on paper. It was so clear. So I'm just happy to share these things. So what happened was I was shown that, and it was basically like, hey, your guides were always here helping you. These people, these higher entities, spiritual beings, angels as well. Angels were able to hijack and achieve instant manifestations and things like this. They were showing me, and like I said, you just had a bunch of people on this stage helping your soul evolution. So it was that deep, because we think of everything in this physical universe, we're conditioned to teach ourselves and to be taught that, hey, this is all there is. Like if you see a person, you don't really see the spirit working to and through that person. So I was shown the spirits, the guides, the angels entering into these portals, coming to earth and going to other realms and going out specifically to earth, and going to earth like either in their own form, because a lot of these angels are like shapeshifters. They can manifest a body instantly, and they can also disappear at will. They can take on any form. Many of these spirit guides and things, angels, can take on the form of anyone that they choose. So again, it's sort of like, um, I wasn't given the specifics. Like, I don't know if they're hijacking someone's consciousness who is, like, say somebody's extremely unconscious. Well, God and the universe will use those bodies of the people who are extremely unconscious, and it'll just hijack it, because there might be a soul in there, but the soul is so dang young that there's hardly any life force there. So those are used as vessels, if you will, for higher spirit, for higher angels, for higher channeling. So there's that. That's how I know it to be. But there's also entities that I know can take on their own forms. Like, they're not reliant on the human body, a human vessel. So let's move on. I remember the theater, and like I said, I was just shown, this is a play, this is an actors. They were getting on and off the stage, going to and through the portals, helping myself. I was short. This was part of. I guess this was sort of part of the live review. Now, I was given a live review, but I don't remember the live review. But I do remember a screen appearing and things in front of me, and me showing the whole life, and the people that I harmed, the people that I hurt, the people that I affected, the lives that I affected for the positive. I do remember being shown those things, but I don't remember the details of that life. You know what I'm saying? But I do remember, and God was God, as we know, which we don't know really who it is. It's just an energy source that we intuitively know, hey, this is God. We just intuitively know. It's an intuition. And it was standing like behind me, or, and even sort of, well, yeah, it was behind me. I was going to say to the side, but yeah, it's just like it stands behind you, and it radiates love and stuff as you're watching all of these things. And even though you're feeling shame, you might still feel some shame. You might still feel some guilt for what you might have caused harm to somebody or something. But the whole moral of the principle is that you just have to see what choices you made and things. And, then God basically takes you, after that point, God takes you to like heaven or whatever level of the astral plane. So after the life review, what happens, from my own personal recollection, and these are strong memories, guys. I mean, I don't know if you can tell just by me talking, but these are real things. So like I said, results may vary because we don't know how it's going to be for everyone else. I think that the afterlife is sort of a custom tailored to everybody, but you hear in a lot of near-death experiences and all this stuff, like they go through the life review, and now apparently in the case of that, their silver cord is not severed. They're said to be, now I will sort of like mention this, because they're said to be, after you go through many of these things, once you go with God, this is the point where, like, after the life review and things, you'll go to the astral plane. And once you enter through the portal, because there's usually like some kind of light, which is really like a portal, spiritual portal. These things really, really do exist. So you sort of go through those bright lights and those portals, and then from that point, from what I understand, that's when your silver cord is completely severed. And even though like the body might be pronounced dead and things, sometimes our silver cord is still attached to to the body, because we're like, hey, this is what I was supposed to do. It's like we are this committed, guys. I mean, it's a serious thing. But once you go through certain portals and things, God will help you sever that cord. So your cord to that life is severed, and you're on. Like, that's the point where you actually move on. And the next thing that I remember, whenever you enter a certain realm, and it's, from what I understand, you can do research on this. There's the upper astral, there's the middle astral, and then there's the lower astral. Now, I won't really go into what all these are necessarily, but I do know that in the upper astral is the Akashic records and things, and all the information that's ever been told. It's a giant library and you can go in here. There's a whole bunch of rooms, and you can read about, and you can simulate what it would be like to repair an automobile. Say like you have an interest towards automobiles, and that soul wants to work on cars in an earthly life, because some people are called to that. Like, we know each calling is different for everybody. Well, you would go into those rooms and in the library on the third astral, and you would actually get to learn. Like, you choose, like, you choose what interests you. You're like, hey, I'm gonna go, maybe that doesn't interest me so much, so I'm gonna go to this room, I'm gonna go to this room, I'm gonna go to this room. And every room has a specific sort of subject matter and things. This is how we become interested in things, believe it or not. And then we start to bask our consciousness. Hey, what would this be like? And it's sort of like a simulation of what, living in the physical realm doing this would be. And then we choose, hey, this interests me, so this is gonna. And what you're doing actually is your consciousness is absorbing what interests you the most in things like this, so that once you do go incarnate on earth or some other place, you already have that subconsciously. Like, subconsciously, hey, I'm attracted to working on vehicles, I'm attracted to being a doctor and helping being a nurse, I'm attracted to being a motivational speaker, like, I'm attracted to wisdom. You have these things on a subconscious level because, believe it or not, you've already done them. You've already done them many times. So, I thought this was going to be a short message. Dang, man. Um, well, we'll just get it all out. I know we're having a good time. So, the afterlife, what I clearly remember, the theaters, actors, being in the middle astral. So, this is what happens. So, I was talking about the libraries. It's good that I mentioned that, because that is a thing. But the main place that your soul sort of hangs out in is the middle astral, and that's the definition of, usually, the like, biblical and church's definition of heaven. And let me tell you, there's like bridges, there's lakes, there's flowers, there's fields, and everything's sort of, I remember everything appearing sort of white. There was just it was almost like we were in the clouds in a way. And I'm not kidding. Like, I clearly remember this. And I clearly remember certain loved ones coming, because I was living in this house. Like, you can live in a house, and, like, you choose where you live there. Well, I was and it was a rather small house. I don't know if I was visiting someone or if it was my own house. I don't exactly remember. But within that house in the middle astral, I clearly remember being. I should honestly tell you what happened before this, because here, let's talk about what happened just before this, and I promise this will be short. So, what actually happened before I was transported to the middle astral, I remember. So we went to a life review, and then we go to the middle astral. But see, within the middle astral, there is something referred to as the clearing fountain. And I forget what Dolores Cannon was saying that her hypnosis clients were saying that this was. But there's a healing fountain somewhere on that middle astral, and you can feel the vibrations. I didn't talk much about the feelings. The feelings are what you would expect from a heavenly state. It's a very, very light, loving vibration. I'm telling you, you feel warm. You feel like love in your heart and in all of your energy centers. Like, it's just a warm, connected, like, heavenly state, guys. Like, it's hard to explain. As many say that it's almost impossible to explain, but I do clearly remember being in that state. And I remember, gosh, I did not want to leave. Like, I didn't want to leave that house, because I was visiting with family and friends within that house. Many friends came to see me, and then I had my mom there, and then I had many, I think it was on my mom's side. And again, I don't know if these are the same souls that choose to incarnate with you in future lives. That's my assumption, maybe, perhaps. I don't exactly know the details, But I do remember that that was who I knew as mom. This is who I knew as grandma. So I don't know if it was the last life or if it all combines. I believe that it all combines. I think that you have certain soul groups that you sort of wait till everyone passes and then you go for another incarnation. That's my understanding. This is why some people go out in groups. Now, this is deeper spiritual truth, but that's why some people actually go out in groups. So these are all soul groups. And this is why some people choose to go out together and all this other stuff. So there's a lesson to be learned. The soul chose this in the previous life. Hey, I'm going to go learn these lessons here on Earth or somewhere. And so the fountain. So there's a line, okay? And your guide is with you there in line. And what I was going to say about the clearing fountain is that it's like a room that you go into. You know, like a dentist chair? It's literally like that, except it's like a dome. So it's like a dome, and then you wait in literally a line. There's a line of spiritual beings. Guys, I clearly remember this. And there's a line, and I was like far in the back in the line, and then I don't know if a guide was helping me or something, but they said you can go next, like you can go in front. I don't know if I was given special treatment, like I don't know. I just remember seeing all of these light beings in a line, like you would see like in a long line at a grocery store or Walmart or something. You see those large lines. That's what it looks like. And there's people there's people all around, and there's several healing rooms and stuff. But you go to I was going to the specific one. It's a dome, and then you actually go, and like once I was immediately transported up to the front. That's what I'm saying. Is I saw all the line and all the people, and I was like, I don't want to wait, you know. But there was a guy. There was people who came and got me, and they said, no, we're going up here. So I was then transported, like I was practically next in line. I remember that there was a couple people in front of me, a couple different souls, and you go into this room and you lay and you sit in a chair, and then you lay like sort of flat in a way. And what happens is there's this energy, this spout of like water, like a shower head, and it literally rinses your aura. Like it literally cleanses out all of your many past weights and baggages and things. Now, again, I'm assuming you don't really retain too much memory after this, but don't get scared because it's worth it. Because guys, we're supposed to live clear. You know, this is why whenever that shower head rinsing us and things, this is sort of why we are. The truth of the matter is that it's preparing us for our next incarnation. Because that is actually you becoming quote unquote like a baby again. Now again, it's not to scare us because it's not like you're now a toddler crawling around heaven and things. But I'm saying, yes, it's to prepare you for your next incarnation or wherever you go. They might have you go somewhere else. They might have you go back to God or the actual source where you go back, because it said that some souls in Dolores Cannon's work, apparently you go back there and you become one again. You know, you are no longer you. You know, you literally puzzle piece yourself into there, apparently for eternity. Now, again, I haven't heard much about that except in the readings. My own experience, I remember the shower head clearly. I remember the theater clearly. I told you that. I remember the middle astral, visiting people like family, relatives, heartfelt meaning. And trust me, you don't want to leave, because that truly is like the definition of true heaven, and it feels like it. But I remember after the shower, because it rinses your aura all the way to where you just have a clear white aura, and you're quote unquote clean, because all the negative weighted energies that some of those that you might still be carrying on to, it rinses those out. It makes sure that you're a clean, clear vessel, that you're clean for this body that you're going to and things like this. That's the whole purpose. It's meant to clear you of all the gunk and because it resides within our soul, and we can wash and rinse this clean. So I clearly remember that. I did not expect this video to be over 30 minutes, but I'm glad that it is. And thank you for everybody who's watched and listened to this. This is practically a storybook. I mean, this could be an hour, but it's not gonna reach. No, it's not gonna go an hour. We're actually almost done here. Oh, okay, so we're after the shower. You get transported somewhere, usually the middle astral. If you need some extra assistance, extra help, you might be transported to lower astrals to do some therapy work and things like this, and then you can be transferred back to the you can graduate to the second astral. Now, like for troubled souls and things, troubled souls might not necessarily go immediately to the second astral or the third astral because they still need extra work done with them. And then but everything is it's still loving. It's all loving work. It like even though you're on the lowest astral, it's not like hell. It's a very loving space where souls that have been through extra things are recuperated, and you go through therapy, and you go through therapy sessions and things, and then once your consciousness is prepared, then you feel a little bit more whole. Then you can actually graduate to the second astral, and then you can go on to help other people. Because in the second realm, in the second astral, the middle astral, I said second, it's the same thing, middle astral. Now you can look into these astrals. Now you can do your own research. These things are very real. So in the middle astral, but I remember these clearly. So in the middle astral, you are it's like a preparation. That's what the middle astral is. It's not, you don't stay there permanently. No one stays there permanently. You're not meant to. This is a preparation zone for the next incarnation, whether it's on Earth or somewhere else. Typically, it's a lot of souls are incarnating on Earth. So just about wrapping this up. That's where you visit loved ones. So I remember in the shower, and then going directly from the shower to the home. There was a home. There was like many homes lined up, and it was just like expanded vastly with all fields, flowers. I remember there being bridges and everything. It was just so calm, and there were some people outside, but most people were inside visiting loved ones. And I think this visitation, again, it's all preparation to get you prepared for where you're going and things. So it's an encouragement. They're sending you love. They're like, it's an hey, I'm sending you unconditional love. And you feel all this stuff energetically. Like the feeling of it is just you don't want to leave. And then you get a knock on your door. And I clearly remember this. You get a knock on your door, and I remember getting a knock on the door, and there was guides and angels and council guys. There was council members that said, "Okay, it's time. It's time to go, and it's time to go incarnate. It's time to go make your plan and incarnate." Guys, this stuff on the spirit side, see all of what I've said. Look at how long it's taken me to even talk about, almost like 40 minutes. But the reality is that over there, it literally seems like everything has happened within like 4 minutes time. I'm not kidding. It's so fast between incarnations. And that's why I was actually very discouraged, is because I wanted to stay. Whenever they got a knock on my door, they said I had to go. I'm like, can't I just, like, I would just want to like stay and like feel this. Like, this is all I want. I just want to feel this love. Like, that's all I want. But you God or the highest source is using you for higher purposes and things. Like I said, everybody's own spiritual journey is different and tailor-made. So my purpose is not going to be the same as other people's purposes. We know this. Everybody has a sort of a select purpose. So they took me up to council board. Now I'm not sure if this I think this was on the third astral, but I can't say for sure. It was its own place. It was sort of its own place. I don't know if it was within the third astral. I think it was, but it's its own place. And it's almost like the only way I can describe this is like a courtroom. It's a courtroom vibe. It's supposed to be a committee boardroom, like a council boardroom. So it's not really a courtroom, it's like a council room, and there's council members that are sitting above you, and they're not judging you, like they're here to help you. and there's higher there's guys, there's like angels and beings that are like huge. Like we think that we're like bright lights and things, like the chosen people on earth are like bright. No, you've not even began to see, because some of these angels and beings and light forms are humongous compared to like our light. Even though our light is still bright, some lights are like huge, and that's what makes them, I guess, council members and things, because they have a lot of intelligence, they have a bright light. So there are giant lights. God is said to be the greatest giant light of all, which is like the again, guys, there's many different names. The great central sun sometimes is called. um, but God is like a huge energy form, and you can go visit God. I think that's one of the options that they give you over there. But what I'm saying, you can go visit at least, but you can't stay. So usually it just depends on the soul growth, or what God wants you to do, what the guides want you to do, because they have a lot of say, because again, we're all here to help each other. That's the whole point. So let's go ahead and just about end this off. I didn't think it was going to be this long, but I guess we needed this. I'm glad that I'm making this because it gets everything out. I really thought this was going to be a general thing, but I've really talked about everything. It's just that you can tell like words just poured because I need to get a lot of this stuff out. So yeah, you're making your plans, and I remember a storybook. They literally open up like a book, and you flip through. I'm not kidding. There's different lives on every page, and you flip through the pages, and you say, hey, this is a woman life, and she's this age, and she has this situation, and she works here, and she decides this for her life. That's the plan. And you get to choose it. So it's like you flip through the pages, and then your guides, if you don't want to choose, you can tell, hey guides, choose the best life for me. And that's what I did. I remember clearly I said, I was looking at the pages, and I'm like, hey, just please choose the most loving life that I can possibly live, and the best life for my soul growth, but would still be very, very nurturing and loving. So they listen to you, they listen to your heart, and because they can feel that, they're like, hey, okay, this is what this person would do good on. They have like quite a lot of challenges in their life, but it's manageable, it's not too bad. While other souls might need some maybe harder lessons, so they might go through something that's a little bit harder. It's guys, it's all for what the soul's ready for. So depending on the past life and the soul's growth, that's where they will probably be challenged the next life, perhaps, maybe. But you can either be challenged, or you can sort of have an easy life all your life, but it's all spiritual lessons. So I remember clearly having this life, and then they showed me in the book, they're like, okay, this is the one that we're going for. And then I was looking at the pictures as images, and I literally saw pictures of my mom and stuff. Like, this stuff's deep, guys. And I saw like pictures of like what my life would be like, and I saw like like I said, I just remember seeing pictures of mom. I remember seeing pictures of like probably my aunt, like one of my aunts, and there was like certain family members and things. And it's like, hey, this is what you're going to, this is what we have prepared you for. So this is the life. This is your soul's going to incarnate here, and then you're going to live this life. This is the life that you choosing. So that's why they say we choose our parents and we choose our things, because we do. Because the soul decides, hey, this is the best situation for me. This is the most loving situation for me. The people who don't incarnate in loving situations, it's because the soul chose, hey, I'm grown up enough. I want and have a yearning to know what it's like to discover myself after, the only way I can describe it is that some souls and hearts and things on the spirit side, and some lights, they need to learn a little bit harder lessons. And again, all of this is helped. You are helped with these things. So wrapping this up, thank you for tuning in, guys. I really didn't think that this video was going to be this long, but we needed a sit down talk. We needed to actually hear about these things, because it's like a storybook, piece this stuff together. I would totally add images to these videos and video overlays, but I think your own imagination needs to fill in the gaps for these types of videos. So I will continue adding videos and images to videos, but not necessarily these lecture talks. I don't know if that's what you call it. It's just story. It's almost a story talk. It's my own recollection of the spirit side, the astral side, the afterlife. What I clearly remember, we've gone over just about everything. I was looking when if I'm looking down, I'm looking at this card just to make sure that we've covered everything that I remember. So yeah, choosing from the book what plan was best for me, and then this is the final part. So I'm actually done. I covered everything. The theater. Being shown the afterlife, being taken, God taking me to the second astral, the middle astral. Told you about the shower head where it rinses you clean. There's long lines there. Sometimes you can get treatment and actually progress in line faster, but if you don't, you actually have to wait. Yes, you actually have to wait and work on your patience, even on the spiritual side, believe it or not. Visiting loved ones, then you go and visit loved ones, your version of heaven and things like this. Which, if you picture you're in a house, okay, this is the house, you go visit your loved ones and things, you feel those loves. Now, again, this could be souls in your current life, this could be souls in your previous lives. We don't really know. And exactly. But I think that there's souls, you have soul groups. Again, seriously, there's soul groups that people a little bit better. So family, they say family is forever. I don't know how true that is. It does seem pretty true, though. Family is forever, and you might not agree with your family. Many people have fallen outs with their family, but on the spirit side, you don't. On the spirit side, you say, "Oh, okay, we need to go try this again because you're in a better state on that side." So you don't have the judgments and things like this. You're only focused on helping. There's a focus on love, and there's a focus on helping. So that's the only prerogative that you focus on. That's what I remember. Even in that council room, it's just like you're like laser focused. Hey, we're focused on this loving. We're focused on this next life, because there's something that the soul chose. Hey, I've chosen this. This is very, very important. The soul wishes to help. I wish to help these people. I wish to embody this. To just be myself and be free. It just depends on the life, though. It depends on the life. But because life, you have this plan coming in, but life can sometimes go in a different direction. So you have a plan wrapped up like a gift, and then you enter life, and then you have all these different choices, and then some people lead you astray. This is all a part of learning. It's supposed to happen like this. It's supposed to happen like that, believe it or not. So if you think that you're off track, chances are you're actually on track over here, because if you think that you're off track, that means that you're learning, that there's a learning lesson there. So it's for you to discover. I covered just about everything. The final thing I will say, and then we talked about the book, choosing the plans. So I covered everything. The afterlife, what I clearly remember. I'm going to end off this video in just a moment, but I will tell you that the final thing I do remember is literally right upon making the plans, I went back to the homes. I went back to the middle astral homes I was talking about. You visit, you say final bye to the family group or the group of souls that you're communicating with on that side that are closer to you than other souls. And then you say your final byes, and they encourage you, and there's a great encouragement. And then you go with the guides again, and then you basically, from there, you go to God, and then you have all this planned out, and then it's ready. And then I don't know if it's a portal, I don't remember any portal, but it is like a straight shot. Guys, I remember coming into the body. Clear as day, I promise. I remember literally having conscious awareness of what it was like traveling to Earth in my in that astral body before coming into the physical body. I clearly remember, and it was almost like an uncomfortable sensation. Like it was like what am I getting myself into? But you've already committed. Like, that you have to go. But I remember flying, like it was but it was fast. It was almost like you didn't have a choice. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you get on a ride at a park or something, and you're like you're like caged up in the ride, and you're like, I don't want to be in this, but the ride continues going until it stops. That's kind of the feeling, and I don't want to discourage any of us, but that is honestly the feeling. Because once you have your plan, you have to go. I mean, you have to go. So what I'm saying is, you're on your way, and the only way I can describe it is, I remember seeing empty space around me. Like, you're literally in outer space, and you're seeing stars around you, and there's a little bit of purple tint to it, but you have like a governor on your trajectory direction. Now, Jesus, in one of the secret teachings of Jesus, Jesus actually called this the grid. So there's a grid that we don't see, and this is how we actually travel on the spirit side. So it's not that we, well, you can travel freely, but once it's time to go somewhere, you have a grid that you actually get on, like a ride, and it sort of directs you in your soul. It directs you directly to where you're supposed to be. So this is like a plan, like you're on plan for your life. This is what it means to be on the right path. Well, the right path is actually real in the spiritual realm. Like, it's an actual, like, train track path. Like, literally, literally, like an actual path, though. Like you could touch it in things. So that's what it means to be you're on the right path for your life. Well, it turns out it's not metaphoric. It's an actual path that you walk. You can only see this in the spiritual realm, though. You can only see if you're on track spiritual realm, because we can't pick these things up with our eyes and things on planet Earth, unless you open up your third eye. Because if you open up your third eye, you can begin seeing auras. I've seen many auras in my life. It's a practice. I've had many gifts myself. I can pick up the color, the density. One of my best friends used to always be yellow and orange. That was her colors, always. It never changed. She was always yellow, and it was always such a nice energy. We have different auras to ourselves. While some people actually go from dark, light, rainbow, a lot of rainbow auras. You can read people's auras if you activate your third eye, activate your higher senses. So things are very, very real, as you see on the spirit side. So I went over everything. I just remember clearly traveling. I mean, I was on that path, that grid line, or the grid, and my path was exactly on that grid line, and I just soared. Like, it was like head first, like just soaring to earth, like as fast as humanly possible. And then from that point, I remember that's when I was entering the incarnation. Literally. So that's everything that happened. So everything that happened prior, go over this video a couple times if it spoke to you guys. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any afterlife stories that you remember, this is what I clearly remember. I haven't shared this stuff. I could probably write a book about this stuff, but I just don't. I never really thought to share it until now. So thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. It's your host, Michael, where thoughts become things, sharing with you the real story of the afterlife, what I clearly remember. And if you want to know more that actually pertains to these topics and expands upon these topics, check out the link below in the comment section, because that is a video by Dolores Cannon about her work and her clients and what they recall from the afterlife experience. So it's actually what happens after you quote unquote die in the physical, and the process once you get over to the spiritual side. I pretty much covered everything. So this video almost was an hour. I cannot believe, wow. That's so cool though, because I haven't had like an hour video in a long time. I should have made this a live stream, man. I should have made this a live stream, but I'm just gonna upload it as a regular video, get it out. Thank you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. There are other spiritual stories that I do have. Recollection and remembrance of. So if you're interested in knowing or learning about those stories, then let me know and I'll make more videos about it. So guys, take care, and I'll see you in the next video. See you next time.